Settle in, everyone. Settle in. It's just the boys today. It's just the A-team. Welcome back. Season 5, episode 128. It's just me and my numero now. Pete, how are things, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you? No, it didn't take long.
You really went quickly into let's start and I'll have him entrance in. We've been on for 4 seconds. Case, welcome. Nice
Hey,
world,
guys.
I wonder if the third person to enter the Rumble has ever won. It feels like one of the worst numbers you could enter the Royal Rumble. Third?
I don't know. I was talking to Jeff the other night over text message, and he informed me that he has a new cable system that just plays random channels throughout, the most random channels you could think of. And one of them just plays Royal Rumbles continuously all day. I know. I had the same reaction.
Wait, give me off the top of your cup, what's your favorite Royal Rumble ever?
I got to think the Stone Cold Steve Austin one. It might have been 97 when he got eliminated and then he came back in and flipped everybody out of the rig.
Okay.
That was a great one. I think it was the lead up to WrestleMania 13. So anyway.
My favorite one I remember vividly was with Shawn Michaels and British Bulldog were 1 and 2, and then they ended up being the last two, and Bulldog threw Michaels over, but he caught himself and only 1 foot hit. And then remember British Bulldog's music came on and he climbed up, and then Michaels stormed back in. And that was my favorite one. I loved it. It was like peak wrestling, and it was awesome.
Did you ever see British Bulldog's stats in the Royal Rumble? They're he's the all-time greatest Royal Rumble. They're the all-time greatest to never win.
I feel like British Bulldog and Mr. Perfect were always around, and people loved him. They never got any recognition, no titles, no.
It's Intercontinental guys. Intercontinental.
Intercontinental. They're mid-cards.
Hand to God, they used to say that the British Bulldog was in such good shape that they would put him in the Royal Rumble because he would just wrestle the whole night. And I could believe that.
Yeah, he's like Ric Flair, guy who's known for having super long matches.
Yeah.
My favorite was I think it was 94 when Luger and Bret Hart went over at the same time, simultaneous touch. I was at that Royal Rumble. It was in Providence.
Whoa.
So got a chance to see it live. So you didn't really see anything, but I thought it was a great lead up into WrestleMania 10 because they both took on Yokozuna, and Luger lost, and then Bret Hart, after getting beat up by Owen early in the night, having a bum knee, comes out and beats him and wins the title. So
how about that?
That was a good one.
Oh, come here. We got an update and a good one. Look at that haircut.
Oh, much cleaner,
Benny.
Much cleaner.
Right? Looking fresh.
Ben, do you miss your old haircut?
You miss it?
No.
No? How do your ears feel? Cold?
Yeah.
A little bit. They're a little cold.
It's a lot to take care of, Ben.
You look good, Benny.
Shorter's better.
See you, buddy. No.
Get the cat out.
It's the cat again.
The whole family. No, Chloe's
I still need a Chloe update. I want to know how school's going for her.
Same notes.
I'm with
I
you.
watched a Red Sox documentary with her today for the first time. She goes, she's like, Dad, I want to watch, something about the Red Sox. And we watched Reverse the Curse of the Bambino together.
No, dude, you should watch the one on Netflix about the 03 to 04 Sox.
It's a little too in the weeds. I need to explain what the curse is first. She didn't get she doesn't even get that.
True.
I don't know.
My kids, for some reason, have really gotten into sports docs. The one that I like the most that I've recently watched is the Celtics one on HBO. The history of the Celtics. I forgot what it's called.
You're the second person to tell me that. I got to see
Excellent. You should throw them out.
Hi, Steve.
Steve, we were just reminiscing on our favorite Royal Rumble.
Oh, no, not Chuck.
Strong.
Oh, no, not Chuck.
Where did Case go?
I had to mute the TV.
Oh, okay. That's okay. WNBA playoffs you watching?
No.
I was going to ask you, do you even care or no?
Yeah, Mercury's up at the half. Not really, but Mercury's up at the half.
I saw your girl got Rookie of the Year.
Of course. I mean, she should be up first team all WNBA, but her team stinks. So I got that. She's easily right there. Pete, can we talk about your emotional attack on Dan Larkin?
I thought it was a fair trade.
I want to talk and get into Lloyd's mindset, but can you tell me what happened this week? Just how did we get here?
All right, there was a little bit of bullying involved, and for that, I'm sorry, Dan. I do apologize.
Lloyd is 0-2 segment.
I'll tell you what. I did my my weekly look at my team and see what the deal was. And,
Yeah, you like what you see?
Yeah, I mean, they're not. They got better than last week.
Crap.
but I was like, I thought, everyone needs a quarterback, and I got 2 of them. It's actually quite valuable time to trade one of those guys. I thought Stroud would get more traction, but no. Dak, it was he was like, I'm interested in Dak, and we talked about a couple things, and Ken Walker's just sitting on his bench. I was like, dude, let's make this work. And so after a little bit of talking, I ended up like really in context.
He wanted the stack. He wanted the lamb.
What was the first message you sent to Dan? How did you start?
I said I really want Smith Njigba. I love him. When I watched the film, I'm like, oh my god, he gets targeted a ton. He's young. Love him. Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Film study DeLuca over here. I love it. Every week he's talking about watching the film.
I watched the game and I was like, wow, this guy is targeted a ton. And so I said I would give him a first and Stroud for Njigba. So that was the first conversation. And obviously that got shot down real quick. And so then we started talking.
All right. Brian, Steve, do you have any reactions to the trade? And then I want to get into Lloyd's mindset.
Yeah, I've been sending Lloyd gifts of Justin Herbert for about a month now, trying to get him to like, hey, I got this guy on my bench. Like, let's just engage. He refused to engage. He gave me like a couple weeks after week 1, after he lost, like couple weeks. Just a quick search, Mike. Like, and no knock to Pete. I think Pete pulled off a great move. Kudos to him. He duped Lloyd. All right. Good job, Pete. But if you go up and look just through 2 weeks, top-ranked quarterbacks in fantasy, there are teams that have 2 quarterbacks before you got to Lloyd's Bo Nix, and you have teams that even have 3 quarterbacks before you can get to Dak Prescott, who Pete just sold to Lloyd. Herbert and Lamar up there. Mike, you got Caleb and Drake both above Dak.
Why didn't you offer him Herbert in a second for Ken Walker?
You got to go for it.
He wouldn't engage in any conversation. So like, even if my knock on Dan is, if you want the stack, fine, take it. That's your choice. Like, if you know you need a quarterback and you have several teams that have multiple quarterbacks, go get the best deal, or at least see what else is out there. He didn't even engage in a conversation.
And so that's where the bullying comes in a little bit, because
okay, here we go.
God's honest truth is the one thing that I don't like, and hopefully anybody that's listening to this podcast that's conversed with me over a trade, when you guys say it's enough, like I don't like it, I say, okay, good, I'm done, and I take another direction, or I leave you alone, or hopefully everyone gets that respect. So when I put out a trade and he says, I'll get back to you in a couple of days, I go, no, absolutely not. You're gonna tell me right now. Yes or no. And he's like, my kid's in the tub. I go, okay, you got until 7:00, and then the offer expires. So that's the kind of that, I do respect somebody that makes a decision. If you don't, yes or no. I've been in talks with Breen. Breen says straight out, like, hey, I don't want to do X, Y, and Z. And I go, okay, cool. Hopefully that there's enough trust there, or builds enough relationship in the future where, like, that I'm not trying to rob you or do anything stupid. Well, even this trade out of context looks bad, but it does help him a lot. He has no starting quarterback, and he was traded a bench guy for it.
Yeah, Steve, you're a big stat guy. You look at it today. Ken Walker, pretty expensive, though. It is a crowded backfield. He gets I think, going to be potent offense. He has the number 1 receiver, and they have an awful defense and ammunition. Another second-round pick he can use. Your reaction to trade for Lloyd?
I mean, on the surface, I don't really love it, but I understand why he did it. To your point, he had no quarterback. He has nothing, and he's got CeeDee Lamb, who arguably is the best wide receiver in fantasy numbers-wise, and it's going to be even more so because they just gave up 37 points to the Giants. So Dallas is going to be behind. They're going to have to throw. I know Javonte Williams has been great, but he's not going to be able to sustain that for an entire season. At least you'd think so. So for Lloyd to be able to get a quarterback to match up with CD isn't terrible. I mean, I still don't think he needed to trade Kenneth Walker to do that, which is why I think it was a fleecing by Pete. I mean, he also could have gone out here and taken, over the first 7 weeks, Russell Wilson, if he wanted to do that, who's a 7th-ranked quarterback right now, points-wise, to Case's point. But, yeah, I don't know why you don't go to Case to go get Herbert over Prescott. I think it's a better offense, but I don't know.
At least see what the price is. You know what I
mean?
Yeah,
that's my point. Like, go explore it.
You know?
You're the preseason favorite in everyone's mind. You have a stacked roster. Why not go around to other guys who might have better quarterbacks. No offense, Pete, and maybe you get someone that's better, higher ranked quarterback.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't love the trade, but I don't think the gap between Dak and these guys you're talking about is that high, and he got a high value second round pick that he can use. Case, you wouldn't have traded him Herbert in the first for.
No, well, first of all, I don't have a first, so
Okay, and your Herbert, and you wouldn't have traded Herbert in a second for Walker.
I would say if
I think it's all lip service. I'm kind of with Pete on this one.
no, if you again, I'm gonna reveal some of my cards here. Like through 2 weeks, I can't figure out the bottom of my roster. Like I need to get something there. So like the time to get me is now. Like, hey, I need Herbert, and I would probably say, hey, I need someone I could throw in the mix in the middle to bottom of my roster to help me out, right? Because like that'd be a chance for me to sort of maybe undersell on Herbert, which would I think be. I mean, I think the guy's in for a huge year, second year with Harbaugh. Like I've been telling anybody that he'd be looking for a quarterback. I talked with Pete after week 1. Like I think he's in for a huge year. I think it'd be worth the risk.
I just think though, like for Dan, like why are you going to sit on your hands? You're 0-2. You got to make some kind of a move. But why are you waiting for someone like Pete, who's a mastermind when it comes to ripping people off in trades, to actually go and do this?
You're ruining my
No.
If he's such a mastermind, how come his team's not very good?
I help everybody.
It's no offense to you. You're really good at making deals with everyone in the league. So why are you going to wait for him to do that? Why not be proactive and go do that yourself? I think that's what the question is, especially when you have the roster built that you have.
Gift of gab.
You think he panicked? You think he was just like, I got to do something? You think on the scale of 1, I'm like cool, calm, collected. It was a good trade, to 10, I'm in panic mode. Where was Lloyd in the 1 to 10 rank?
I don't think he's in panic mode. I think
the
we're
trade. I'm saying for the
overreacting
trade. His trade seems like a panic trade, personally.
Hold on. You were just saying though that it was a good second round pick. He had a good quarterback who's got the same amount of stats as the guys above him for a guy who's on his bench.
Correct.
So you're playing both sides of the coin.
Well, no, I'm more challenging that I don't think Case would have done, and I think he's making it seem like Herbert and whatever he had would be that much better than Dak, and I don't think so.
You're saying Case. I thought you meant for Dan.
I'm just saying engage in the conversation to compare and contrast.
I get that part. I think Dan might be in panic mode, gang.
I think he's panicking. I think you can't tell the difference between his hair gel and his sweat right now coming off his brow.
I think panic mode started when he dropped $60 on Justin Fields the week before. I think
this is now becoming a track record of panic moves. It's not a one-time incident.
I mean, put it this way: if you're talking panic, I would say this: he cannot go to 0-3. So, to that point, I don't know if it's a panic or if it's like I have to make some kind of a move, or else I'm essentially putting myself not just behind the 8 ball. I'm out. Like, how can he be 0-3?
Pete got him again. This is the same thing he did on the golf course when he sculled the ball 50 yards over the green. Pete is in the dude's noodle. He got him again.
I used the term swamp ass to my kids the other day.
Oh.
And I was like, Dan Larkin, big time swamp ass guy in high school.
Big swass.
Big swamp. Sorry, Pete. Last word to you, Pete.
Oh, that poor guy. I think it's a fair trade. I think
I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's that unfair.
I think if you look at the context of the league, it is not that bad. I think it's when you say it overall, it's pretty bad. But
for the needs of the team, to your point, it's fair. Dan needed a really good quarterback. Points wise, who's going to get him? Name wise, might not be up there with the Jacksons or anyone else like that. But and you get yourself a young running back where even if he isn't a share with Charbonnet, you can sit on that for a while.
Yeah. And one thing, hopefully people are still listening. One thing is one thing that Larkin said to me was, and I'm tired of hearing this overall. I want to say this just as a blanket statement to the league. They're talking about depth. He's like, I don't want to get rid of my depth. It is week 2. There will be guys that emerge. There is more people that will be out there. You can trade guys that are on your bench. So
in fairness, he doesn't have any more fab money to get those guys when they become available.
But I was like, you have Rashid Rice coming. You have Rashid Rice coming off the IL in like 2 weeks. I was like, you have depth, and he was like,
is he trying to move him, Pete, to somebody who might want a younger guy who's on the shelf, and like that guy hasn't been brought up?
I don't know. I think it became clear he didn't want Kenneth Walker anymore, so I just asked him.
Yeah, I mean, it is a split backfield, so to his credit, that might pay out. So
I don't know. Well, he did it off the heels of an awesome week. Week 2 was great NFL season. We had like 6 different teams that at one point were projected to get the boom, and we had some of the closest games we've had. Brian Casey won the award for most annoying texter of the week by a million miles. DeVito even side texted me. But Pete, let's go do it.
It did not happen.
What was the side text?
No, he didn't.
He's lying. It didn't happen.
I could tell. I could read DeVito, and I could tell the way he was texting. You were annoying him so much.
I could tell I was getting him. I was just trying to timestamp the roller coaster of my emotions through the course of the weekend.
Well, thank God you did that for us.
Yeah, thanks, Case. We needed it. Pete, let's hear some. Let's hear a little bit of a high-level recap. We'll get some booms. We'll get some beasts. Get some going deeps. Pete didn't send it, so I get to be surprised. I can't wait. Pete, give us a little week 2, closest week ever recap. Then we'll go through some games.
Boom of the week goes to CJ Spades with 153.5. It is his 7th boom all time. He moves into sole possession of 5th on the all-time list. If you need a recap there, the top 4 are really the big dogs. So 5 is kind of when you start to make your move. The top ones are Kaleli, DeVita, Innes, and myself. Can you believe there was a time when my team boomed enough to be in the top 4?
No.
How many years does it go back?
I think we started this in 22, so maybe 3 or 4 years now.
You must have got off to a really good start.
Dominated in 22.
Feels like a long time ago.
It does feel like a long time ago. The beast of the week goes to Malik Neighbors with 47 points. He great game, beat Josh Allen. Josh Allen's 43 from last week, so highest score in the league so far. Malik Neighbors 47. And the going deep, Mike.
He's got to remember the play.
I did have a lot of football on, so when you say it, the kickoff returns don't count. I saw 2 kickoff returns. I don't know.
Jonathan Taylor with a 68-yard rush. ETN's 71-yard play from last week, still the longest play of the season.
Yeah, not that long, 68 yards. JT, by the way, dude. I mean, for Innes, he's emerged. It's a great guy for Jeff to have him. He lost, but sorry, go ahead. Great week. Good week. High scores. Do we have a high point total average yet?
No, I'm just going to give it like a couple weeks before I start looking at it.
Seems low. Seems low.
What's the number? 135? Is that usually what we have to get to?
Yeah, I think it was, 135.
Feels
magic number.
Well, first game of the week, the losing team did not get to 135, but our defending champion, former 2 seed, fell back to the 3 seed because of Spates' boom. But Kaleli takes down Case in the battle of Manguso backcourts. Pete, give us that recap.
Yeah. Number 2, Mike, wins 140 over 125. Last week I mentioned I thought that Saquon would be the difference, but Kansas City held him to under 100 yards, which Chris Jones will tell you. You might pick up on a live mic if you didn't hear it on Going Trending. No, none of you guys did? All right, check out that. No, Chris Jones. I'm sorry. Yeah, did I say Chris Jones? Anyway.
Yeah.
Instead of Saquon, it was James Cook with 132 and 2 touchdowns. Mike, I want to know what you were thinking, and you can pass it around to whoever you want. But what were you thinking? Because I remember you had Hubbard in there for a little bit. Then you had Moore in there for a little bit. What did you see that all of a sudden you were like, let me throw in James Cook in that last spot?
I felt like I was overthinking the Cook spot. I didn't actually, once I really thought about it, have many decisions to make. I felt like it was the best roster I could have had. I could tell you, like, the way DeVito does it, that I was thinking between Cortland Sutton and Chuba Hubbard. But, like, once I really, slowed down Sunday morning, I was like, Cook's too high volume. He's too high variant. I knew I needed a good week, and I felt like it was over pretty early, and my afternoon guys kind of stunk. So I was actually decently stressed out during the day. I don't get that stressed, but I took a nice nap in the afternoon. But I was worried about the victory at 5:30. I thought at 3:30, I was like, oh, my goodness, I'm going to destroy this guy. Then Lamar had a couple late ones. My team's off to a pretty good 2-0 start, broken 140 twice, and I've had a pretty pedestrian Saquon. So I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. Case, let's get your reaction to your team. I think you'd probably share my sentiment. Oh, yes, Pete, sorry.
I do want to mention this was the blowout of the week at 15 points. If you didn't see this, which has got to be the lowest blowout of the week of all time. But Casey's starting the trend early. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I guess my worries about Cortland Sutton fell in space with 1 catch for 6 yards.
Right.
So worry about the wrong things. No, I snuck Keon Coleman in there after big week 1. Obviously, the game script did not play out. James Cook got off to a fast start, 2 touchdowns early, and there was no need for them to throw the ball after that, especially not taking any shots to him. So bottom line roster has failed to produce to get me to close the gap, because it was close, Mike, at certain points, especially with Jefferson and Mike Evans being the last two guys that played. Like, it was at the striking distance. The targets were there. The receptions and yards weren't. So I feel like it's teams sort of close, but not executing enough to get over the hump.
Steve, you look at Case's roster and the bottom of that roster failed him. You look at my roster and the top of my roster this week, Puka and Cook carry me. Your reaction to the game, the win for Kaleli, and any good takes that you want to spit off?
I actually have a panic mode question case for you. So
Piazza or potato salad?
Taking a look at what you have right now and where your performances are coming from, right? Flowers and Adams, 2 good weeks. Are you nervous at all at the quarterback situation? Not on Lloyd's team. We're going to go to Minnesota with Jefferson, with McCarthy out and Carson Wentz in. And are you nervous at all about the Igbuka emergence with Mike Evans not seeing as many targets in Tampa?
To your first point, I feel like Wentz is a little bit more of a gunslinger. I think there's going to be more shots taken, so I think that helps Jefferson. I think that is one that I was prepared for a slow start, and hopefully they figure it out as we go. For the guys like Evans, I mean, Devontae was good this week, not so good last week. Judy, like, the targets are there. Evans is not a target issue. He caught 2 balls where he was out of bounds. One was at the pylon, which would have been a touchdown if he got both feet in that game. He had 11 targets. It's not fully computing yet. So not a panic level. Just need to secure a couple more of those catches. So I know Mike's on board with me. Like, targets is a good sign for performance. Just a matter of cashing in. So,
Pete, do we have a season where DeVito would ask everybody if they were nervous? I feel like that was a good shtick for a while. Was it?
probably.
Steve, didn't you do that? You nervous?
It wasn't last year.
I believe it was how
Probably been a while.
No, that is a good point, Case. It was not last year.
Wasn't last year. And I think the season of 2023, it was the year that DeVito wasn't shocked.
What happened? What happens? Hockey on a different night?
Yeah, we're Monday, Friday. Terrible schedule.
It is good. It is good having you back, Steve. I don't actually mind. I don't mind the Friday night practice.
Yeah,
nice.
You got nothing. I got nothing.
Friday night I'm fine with. It's the Monday night after having 2 to 4 games on the weekend.
Miss Monday Night Raw. I get how it happens. Well, speaking of Monday Night Raw, a Raw start for Jeff. Really should have got the win, and Joe Burrow's impending injuries kind of put him in a potential tailspin. But our boom of the week, CJ Spates, 153 to 144 over Jeff. Give us that game 2 recap, Pete.
Yeah, Spates gets the win. Ironically, both teams lost their starting quarterback in this game because it looks like Jalen Daniels is not going to play. I know that they're like kind of questioning, but I really think he's out. So thankfully, though, Daniels was able to get 21 points before he left, which is probably the difference in the entire game. Joe Burrow looked like if he had just played another quarter, this probably could have been a win for Jeff, which is kind of annoying. But exciting game. Malik, as we talked about, was the beast of the week. Jonathan Taylor had the going deep earlier. So checked off a lot of boxes. I do want to bring up that Garrett Wilson trade. Looks like shit after this this week. So let's go ahead and pat myself on the back with that one. Rough loss for Jeff. Even tougher with the injuries. I'm going to give Jeff my potato salad if we were playing this week.
Pete, you came out hot last week with a really strong curse. That was another good one. Just bang right there, right?
Yeah. Hard curse, man.
Our viewership keeps going down, and Pete keeps firing more curses.
Less females.
Steve, I'll go to you first because you are our former Joe Burrow manager. If we ask the question about panic between Lloyd 1 to 10, give us Jeff's, because he at the moment has a very high variant upside team, but a very fragile team. Strong ego, fragile team. Give us Jeff's reaction after a loss.
The crazy part about this week, too, I just want to point this out. If you look at some of the matchups that happened here, there were multiple games and multiple matchups where there were real high scores and they kind of matched each other. And then both of the other teams had guys that were really low, right? So you look at this game, Burrow and Henry, low scoring games, not performing. What the hell are you laughing at?
You're just the best, dude. I don't know what it is. I think you're great, Steve. Sorry. Yeah. I'm serious.
Shout out to the Wednesday, Friday schedule.
Oh, dude, I love having you back, man.
Monday, Friday schedule.
It's just such a good. You're right. You're right. Good call, Steve.
Continuing.
Go ahead.
So if I'm looking at these two rosters, I am definitely worried if I'm in this. there's a lot of like things with his roster that could go wrong here as opposed to CJ's. And if I'm looking at CJ's, I know we don't like to talk about this, Pete, but the depth and the guys that he could actually plug in and play,
Too early.
way more opportunities if he has an injury or a guy that's not playing well, as opposed to what Duddy's got right now. He's got guys on his bench that are not performing that he could look and plug and play if and when McCaffrey gets hurt. Or like what happened with Burrow, he doesn't have a lot of options there. Or if Tyreek Hill gets suspended, which is probably going to happen. So if I'm in this, I'm worrying. I'm not panicking because I still think he's got a really good roster. But I feel way better about myself if I'm CJ.
Case. Oh, sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
Steve, at what point should you realistically start to look at bench depth? Like, and I can include milestones in the off season as well. Well, when should you start?
To your point, the guys emerge throughout the season, right? Like look at the pickup you had today with Franklin right in Denver. Like no one really had him on the radar as someone that was going to be a potential plug and play.
Yeah.
I mean, probably the quarter pole, right? Weeks 4 or 5. That's when you're going to see guys. Huh?
When buys start, I feel like that would be when you start to be like, oh, do I have enough depth here? But like not the
first 4 weeks, it doesn't matter because you got your full roster. Yeah. But after you get, like you said, to that bye week, like what do I have? Who can I plug in when these guys are out? Yeah, that's when it gets important.
I think it's too early to be talking depth.
Well, it's early, but you also got to look at these guys that you could pick up now for down the road.
Yeah, Mike, what the hell are you laughing at?
I think it's never. I don't know. Steve is. I'm loving Steve tonight. I think it's never too early to talk about depth. But I think the other thing it's never too early to talk about. Case Spates' high-end roster. I think you could argue week to week if you put his top 4, and I'll take Daniels off because quarterback's different. Henry, Jacobs, Gibbs, Neighbors. He can get 2 of those guys any week to score 40, and he's at 80 and the game barely starts. Like, is he back to top of the leaderboard of high variant but very high potential week to week?
Yeah. I think through 2 weeks, I don't think we have like a clear-cut number 1 team because of some variance happening, and obviously with some injuries now playing in. Where yes, Pete, depth is gonna play a factor, and being prepared, as Steven likes to be, goes a long way towards that. I think CJ is better equipped to handle some of that as we move towards the middle part of the season here. Whereas Innis, if you look at that roster, like some of those draft picks jumping up and getting golden in the first round, like guy hasn't really done much yet. His roster's pretty thin, and now he's already dealing with injuries. So I think Spates is moving himself up into that like top 3 through 2 weeks with promising look towards the middle of the season with Neighbors being like a guy.
Case, I'm going to ask you, when I tee you up to a game and I put you on Spates' side, stick to Spates' side. DeVito already did the other side. We can't have too much crossover. Then we get too much airtime.
I just like to speak my mind.
Just stay. We know. Stay in the lane. But speaking of a guy who's in a pretty good lane right now, Pete, through 2 weeks, he boomed week 1. He maintains his top of the leaderboard standings. Somewhat surprising, I would argue. Christian Tadarian comes back with a win over DeVita by 9. Pete, give us that recap.
Yeah, last week I thought that Mahomes was the best player that I watched all weekend. This week, I think Bijan Robinson was the best player. He is accelerating, breaking runs. I don't know if the line was just dominating, but he didn't reach the end zone, so he would have had a monster game. But I didn't know DeVito was in Aruba. I was looking at his Instagram, and he's posted pictures where he's in Aruba. If I had known that, I wouldn't have picked him as my upset. Whatever. Good win for Christian.
Case, I'm going to go to you first. I'm going to ask you to talk about Andy's team. Let's stay on Andy's side. Okay, Case? I'm not belittling you. I'm trying to move this in the right direction. I would argue not the best coaching week putting Diggs in there, but the real biggest challenge, you are a big Chargers guy. The difference between a win and not a win is a somewhat pedestrian Marion Hampton game. I'm going to ask you a pretty specific question of this was a winnable game. Do you think the loss comes back to haunt Andy in a couple weeks and is going to challenge his ability to climb up the leaderboard?
Yeah, with everybody coming to the middle, I certainly think that this could be a game that bites him. I think the problem with O'Marion is that like a lot of hype going to the year. Harbaugh known for sort of being this kind of ground and pound, want to run the ball type offense, and they haven't really done that a lot. Herbert's been using his legs more than the rest. I mean, he led the team in rushing this past week. So I think he's got to look to make a little bit more of a move, and I'm liking targets. So, I know the Saints offense isn't very good, but you might be able to get yourself a little bit higher floor with Olave to go with some of those other guys that seem to be performing all right.
Yeah, I like that take. It's a good call. But Steve, look at the other side of this leaderboard here. Are you surprised that Darian's 2-0? Are you surprised that Darian's in first place? We're seeing a ton of running back stability with his top two horses. But give us your thoughts on Christian. Hey, 2-0, number one on the leaderboard. Gotta like it.
So first of all, I agree with Pete. Bijan Robinson is unbelievable. I mean, the guy looks untouchable. And I think when we were laughing about my Mel Kiper insights a couple of years ago, look at the draft, we were talking about Bijan Robinson. Just want to say I told you so.
So many receipts. So many receipts.
DeVito keeps receipts.
I was going to bring it up.
Thanks, Pete. At least you remember.
Hey, Case, remember that time in high school where DeVito told you? Told you.
How about this, though, but with Christian? When he made that pick at the draft this year and everyone was laughing and wondering why he took Tet McMillan, how good does that pick look at this point? Guy he's not only is he a target hog, he's going to be in an offense and a team that is behind every week, and he looks like a stud in Carolina right now. Right? That's a great get for him. So now he's going to have McMillan, Robinson, and Achane, three young guys to go along with Hurts. Mike, to your point about what Spates has in his top four, I think you could probably say the same thing about Christian with his top four.
It's a good top four. And if we're talking about receipts, I'm the only one that predicted Christian would take Tet at 3. And nobody announced it on the pod for the mock draft. So I said it.
On a
Pete,
on
remember
a
the first 2 minutes of the
Anything
podcast?
you can do, I can do better.
That's so good.
We need Mike to have a receipt somewhere.
On a nervous scale, I would say Christian's probably a 1.
Yeah, he's a 1. I would argue that Christian is a rare nervous guy. He's pretty steady energy.
Yeah, I don't think he gets nervous very often.
No. Well, if we want to talk about the nervous scale, let's get to the next game. I think the most nervous guy in the league got to win this week. Kev takes down Pete. Nervous bowl champion Kevin Breen. Pete, give us that recap.
Yes, it was the battle of the 6 seed versus the 9 seed, and I was on the losing end of it, which I'm not sure what that would equate to in the bedroom, but it sounds painful. So I was pretty much over as soon as Monday Night Football started. Nico Collins got a touchdown on the very first drive. And even though he didn't take the lead, it was a very slow death to a loss on that one. I've lost 2 games by 6 points. Imagine how crazy it would be if I was 2-0. It would be a lot more gloating. But anyway, I have a very tough schedule ahead with Mike and CJ and then Christian. So I don't know where the wins are going to come from. We'll see.
Pete, do you realize you have traded the person who was a high point total on your roster back-to-back weeks the day after they scored high points?
Yeah, in some sense, I think that knowing their values at their highest is probably when I want to sell. But you
don't have to trade them.
I mean, these guys, I didn't believe in Garrett Wilson or Juan.
I know.
DK Metcalf looks terrible. Have you guys seen this? He looks
awful. I'm with you. He does look awful. You broke up your stack though. I gotta say, Pete Pickens was to me a surprise one. I would say you got bad luck on this one. The impact of the Vikings this week for you was actually the biggest impact because they were down quick and McCarthy couldn't do anything. And Jordan Mason is actually going to get a little boon because I'm pretty sure, and DeVito can give us this when we get to the preview, Aaron Jones is on the IR. I think pretty unlucky week for you, Pete. Kelsey dropped a touchdown. Mason got kind of sidelined. McLaren didn't do anything in garbage time when they were zipping the ball around. And he goes back. But, Steve, you bring us in a little bit. Give me your sentiment on Team Pete as I walk through that. I would bet you would summarize similar to the way I just did.
No, I agree with everything you just said. I love Jordan Mason. We talked about this a while ago. I love him, and I think they're going to lean on him now even more with McCarthy out and Wentz coming in. I know, Case, you said that Wentz is a gunslinger, but the last time he played in a game, he lost 38-0 against Denver when he played for Kansas City last year. So I'm not so much of a gunslinger he is, but he can't score a point against the number 2.
He might be terrible, but he'll throw it downfield.
Score 0 points. So Jordan Mason, to my point, is going to get 20-25 carries this week. And I think that's huge for Pete. Pete, the one question I have for you, in your roster is going to be Swift. I mean, they already came out today and said he's got a quad injury. Guy's got a history of injuries. I mean, I know he's not a big spot for you, right? I mean, I know McLaurin, Pickens, and Mason are probably going to be your three, well, with McBride, but they're your top four. If we're talking quads here, this is your top four. So, yeah, I mean, Swift does scare me a little bit just because of his injury history, but yeah, this Mason, I love the fact that you got Mason at this point. I'm sure Innes is looking at this now thinking like, son of a bitch, I should have kept him.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think there was a question in there somewhere, and it was if you.
No, I meant the one question on your roster I had was Swift.
Oh, okay.
To you.
Oh, okay. Well, I got a plan if Swift goes down, and I think we'll see. But all right, my pants are down. He wasn't asking me a question.
I thought he asked, do you like DeAndre Swift's quads? But Case, let me ask one pretty pointed question to you here. The guy who has carried Breen so far, because Josh Allen didn't do anything to win, Roma Dunze might be
this guy
key player every week. Give us that look on Kev's team 1-1. Actually, had some pretty good weeks.
Yeah, Ben Johnson offense. Somebody's going to get some points. Maybe he's the new Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know, volume guy, to stretch the field a little bit. It's a good gamble for him. The one thing about this matchup I'll say is they would have lost to every other team if they matched up with anybody else this week. So this is a battle of the dregs. So,
well, two teams they would have lost to in our last game. We spent a lot of time bemoaning Dan Larkin, our now 8th place seed, but he goes down in a Monday night thriller. Pete, upset city. Steve DeVito against disappointment boy himself. Dan Larkin, give us that recap.
Yeah, by 6 points. The toilet bowl ends up being the biggest story of the week and maybe something that affects the league going forward. I don't know how often that has happened, but the two lowest seed teams, $60 for Fields looks pretty terrible right now. It goes right down the drain. I'll keep it short. Big performances by both teams on the benches. Could have been a lot different with some different managerial moves. Bad start for Larkin. Don't like the vibes over there.
Steve, I don't know if you looked, and I'm not going to have you comment on your team. I don't want to comment on anything else. We talked about Dan a lot the first 15 minutes of the podcast. If he had just played Knicks, you lose pretty easily.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah. If I had just kept Crafton, he still loses.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Kraft? He looks great. Was that just a one-time thing?
No, he's a target hog there now. He's.
Steve, do you feel redemption on Keenan? I was all anti-Keenan, and now here he is carrying you 2 weeks in a row.
Told you, going back to LA, playing with Herbert. That's his home. Yep.
You did.
By the way, have you guys seen? Duddy sent me a video today of Keenan Allen. Have you seen his shoulders?
That's weird.
Oh, the hell is that?
Why? What is it?
Don't Google it. It's weird.
I'm going to send it to you right now.
No, I don't want to see it. Just tell me about it.
Send it,
Steve. It looks like he has I don't even know what to call it. Like it's like
collarbone, clavicle.
Oh, it's like he put a controller on right above his shoulder.
He's got like points.
Yeah, it's like literally his shoulder looks like this.
The bone. It's like up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that. Yeah, I have to look at that.
Case, I want to ask you a question about a fantasy football concept and theory. You were Amon-Ra's owner. He was your guy. You trade him. Sometimes you trade players you like. Unlike Pete, many of us have a attachment to people we own. Do you root for a guy who's not on your team who used to be your guy? Like, do you feel a sense of like, ooh, Amon-Ra was good for you, buddy? Like, what's?
Yeah, probably.
The game, actually.
Probably. I think a lot of it is kind of how you get them. Amon-Ra was originally a free agent pickup, I think like in week 3 or 4 of his rookie year that I got him off waivers, and then he's been with me basically ever since. So I would be happy if Amon-Ra has a huge year as long as it's not against me in a given week.
Pete, do you ever you trade so many guys, Pete, do you ever have like guys who you have an attachment towards?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Like even if you trade a guy 3 or 4 times, you'd be like, oh, Terry, like good to see you doing well.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin's one. Chris Godwin's definitely one.
I don't know. You've been trying to trade Godwin, at least to me, aggressively the last couple of weeks. So
yeah, but they come back. Like you can always win me over in a deal if you put Chris Godwin in it. I don't know.
Each shows his affection in different ways.
He used to love Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp was an all-time love. Marshawn Lynch, I used to die for deals if Marshawn Lynch was in them. I got guys I like.
Yeah.
DeVito, who's your guy? Who's the person you go back to, and then we'll preview the next week?
Keenan Allen. He's on my roster.
Yeah, loves Keenan Allen.
He's been around a little bit too, Steve. Steve, we traded him back at the very start of this pod. That's how we got on here. Was a Keenan Allen trade in week 3.
I always consider it like, who would I buy a jersey of?
Case, your memory is immaculate.
Which fantasy guy on your team currently would you buy a jersey of? I would buy Chris Godwin.
Puka.
Bucky Irving.
I have a couple. That means like you want to make like a long-term investment, like at least 2 or 3 years. And I would take Chris Godwin, even though he's at the end of his career or close to it.
I've always had a thing for Devontae Adams. I think that dude's awesome. I've been trying to get him on my team for years, and now that I finally have him, like I'm going to ride that dude to retirement.
he's on it. He's on it until he retires.
Yeah, and I wish he was like with the Raiders because I would love the silver and black version of that jersey. That's where it's at.
That is a nice one.
Bucky Irving for me.
He was awesome one night, Steve.
It speaks volumes of what fantasy guy you would get their jersey of.
I also would get Puka because I have the video of DeVito saying Puka Nakuka, and my kids love that. So it's like a real staple in the Clay household. But before we're gonna get to the previews, we got 40 minutes in. We're really crushing this content game. But let's get some picks recap before we get to next week. Brian, you got one job in your somewhat confusing spreadsheet that you weren't ready to do.
I'm ready.
Right, let's get that picks recap.
This week, in week 2, it showed a subpar performance from the pod. Mike continues his hot streak. He leads the way this week with a 3-2 record. Pete and Case come up right behind him at 2-3. DeVito, big win against Lloyd. Bad week in the picks, 1-4. We only hit one superlative. I hit the lock this week. Let me just check to see.
I had Space Boom. I had
Kaleli in the lock. Mike, you had the boom. Yeah, you had Space. We had 2. Sorry, excuse me, 2. Sorry. We had 2 superlative hits so far. Those are also only 3 superlative hits on the season for us through 2 weeks. So
just shows the parity of the league.
Yeah,
you know what it is, Steve? We're not doing a great job getting the lock, right? We only have 2 lock picks so far this year for the entire pod. So we have to do a better job of assessing those matchups.
Oh no, mine's not very solid this week.
Let's do it, Pete. Let's get into the picks. Our game of the week is our number 1 seed, Christian Darian, taking on our number 6 seed, dealing with some injuries. Let's see if Innis can take down Christian. Give us that preview.
All right, so even though Christian is the number 1 seed, Innis, they played each other twice last year. Innis swept them 2-0. Week 1, it was by 66 points, and week 13, it was by 6 points. I'm going to say I'm just going to name the off-the-radar difference maker that I think is going to change the game. So I like Brock Bowers this week. And the reason, Tucker Kraft last week for the Packers, he lit up the Commanders' defense for 32 points. Bowers is the focal point of the Raiders' offense, and I think the middle of the field is wide open with the other players complementing Brock Bowers breakout. I'm going to go with Darian as my pick.
Pete, thanks for the pick. Love to have you on the board. Love a good Brock Bowers commentary. Steve, let me come to you next. I am going to make a declarative statement that this game is going to have massive separation Thursday night with the Tyreek Hill versus Devon Achane in Buffalo. Big game with 2 key guys on both rosters. You look at the matchup. Do you view that as the key to the win, or is there somewhere else you want to go? And who's your pick?
No, because I don't know if Miami scores more than 10 points in that game. That could be a replay of the Cowboys-Bills Super Bowl 52-10 waxing in the end of the Mike McDaniel era in Miami. So I'm not really taking a look at those 2. I am a little surprised, though, in the Daniel Jones monster bid from Innis. Instead of playing Penix at Carolina, Kyler Murray just had a good week against Carolina this past week. I think Carolina's defense is far more. I think they've got more holes in their defense. I thought Tennessee actually played a pretty decent game last week against the Rams for a while, and then the second half it just kind of exploded on. But I actually think Jonathan Taylor is going to have a big week against Tennessee. I think he's. I watched the Rams run it down their throat for a while there with Kyron Williams. I think he's going to have a big week, and I think McCaffrey's going to have a big week. I like Innis this week against Christian.
Superlatives?
No.
No superlatives. 601. Yes, Pete.
Before we go any further, I reached out to Jeff Innes and I asked him this question verbatim as somebody that he had no interest in trading for any of my quarterbacks that I reached out to. I said, what is your rationale behind the Daniel Jones? And are you surprised by the fab results that you saw come in? Jeff texted me back immediately. And he said, first things first, I don't know how to check the fab results on my phone. I only on my computer. Could you possibly help me? I said, absolutely. So I sent him a video of how to access it. Then he went on to say this. Yes.
Can you access it on your phone?
Yes. Click on the messages on the top right corner of the app, and it will come up as a thing. Set notifications on your phone for the app, and it comes up. Anyway, he said this, Steve, in answer to your question, he said, quote unquote, Daniel Jones is a scratch ticket. Maybe he continues playing well in an offense with a great tight end, good wideouts, good line, and great back. He can also run, which helps keep his weekly point floor high. Or maybe he's the old Daniel Jones, and for now, I'm okay with him and Penix, and we wait to figure out who falls out of contention. So that was Jeff Innes' rationale.
I also went calling to Jeff to see if he wanted Kyler, and he was very quick to me as well to say, I'm going to hold and see what happens for now.
There you go.
Jeff's in the hold business. Case, do you think Jeff is in the win business, and is there a key player on these rosters?
Before I get to that, let's just say that was like first-class podcast journalism right there by Pete. Dropping in outside sourcing live.
I was going to make a graphic.
This is why this is the best show out there.
And not anonymous sources. He quoted his source, which is what we want out of the media.
It came right from the horse's mouth, as they say.
A graphic with a headshot.
As they say in the biz. So the interesting thing here, I think, is the Colts matchup, I think, is the key to this, right? Because you have Daniel Jones and you have Mike Pittman on the bottom of Christian's roster. So a potential sort of stack there, right? And then you also have the Jonathan Taylor thing that Steve was talking about, where I think, just like this past week, I think Taylor's going to factor into the passing game, dump off screen under here for a touchdown, that I think that gets Innes to play close. But I do think that Buffalo and Miami has a chance to be really high scoring, and this was going to make this one close. I'm going to say Christian stays at the head of the pack this week, but it's closer than we may think because of some of those the Colts matchup there.
I'm going to ride closer than the experts think.
I'm going to ride to Darren as well, guys. You didn't mention the guy who we talked about at the beginning of the segment. Bijan's playing a very, very bad Carolina Panthers run defense. He's going to get the ball 20 times. He can break anything for a touchdown. And last week, Hurts scored 11 points, and Darren still got the win. I think you could see a good amount of points in that Rams-Eagles game. I think Bijan lifts the floor. And I watch a lot of Cardinals games, not on purpose. I really don't like watching Kyler. Their defense is pretty good, and I don't love McCaffrey this week, so I'll take Christian. I'm going to go no superlatives as well for me. But good indicator. That's the first time we've gone 3 wins on Team Darren. No superlatives in the first game. That's kind of fun, gang. Will there be superlatives in the second game? Let's see it. 2 seed, 5 seed, Pete. Tall man, anxious man. CJ versus Kev. Let's go.
Spates 1-0 against Breen last year. They only played once. This was the game where Breen only put up 54 points. Do you guys remember that? Yes. The final score was 155-54. And Josh Allen scored 25 of Breen's 54 points. So it was a pretty bad one for Breen. Okay, difference maker in this game, Ramondre Stevenson. Man, I liked him after week 1. I was trying to tickle Breen with a couple trade offers. He wasn't buying on it at all. But I think he was the difference maker in this game. Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, both put up over 100 yards against the Steelers in consecutive weeks. Stevenson at home with a game plan against Pittsburgh that is rather easy. You see TJ Watt, you run away from him. Both teams exploited it, and it seems like the Patriots can easily do that as well. I am going to pick Breen.
Superlatives?
Nah.
Steve, you are a big matchup guy.
Did I stutter?
No.
Yes, I did, but not here. Yes.
You're a big matchup guy. On the surface, Josh Allen against a horrible Dolphins defense, Rome Odunze against a horrible Cowboys defense, Ramondre Stevenson against a susceptible run defense. I'm looking at 3 very good matchups for 3 of Kevin's key players. Am I reading this game correctly? And is there a world where you're taking Kevin in the upset?
if we're going to talk matchups on Breen's side, take a look at the matchups that CJ has on his side. And I'm going to go back to what you just said. I do not like Kyron Williams against the Philadelphia run defense. I do not like Neighbors against the Kansas City pass defense. Gibbs against Baltimore. Don't love that matchup for him. And Henry against Detroit. Don't love that matchup for him.
And Jacobs against Cleveland. Cleveland's the best run defense in the NFL.
You look at all those matchups.
Why don't you like Henry?
Because I think this is going to be a shootout. They're going to be throwing the ball all over the place.
Don't you think it's going to be Monday Night Football in Baltimore? Aren't they going to try to keep the offense off the field?
No, I think they're going to continue to try to score 40 points like they just did.
I could see that being now.
I mean,
right.
listen, of course they're going to want to control the clock and keep them off the field, but I don't.
No, go ahead.
So
I'm sorry.
that matchup-wise alone, we're staying on the theme. I just don't love where those matchups are because I do think that's going to be a high-scoring affair. To your point, Mike, love Breen's matchups. I think he's got great matchups to go against Spates this week. And if Daniels is out, is he really going to put Aaron Rodgers in against the Patriots, who are very susceptible to the pass? Or do you go out and get someone else? Or is he going to stick with that? That's my big question for CJ. All those questions, I'm with you. I like Breen this week. I think it's a good matchup for him. I think this is an opportunity for him to put an L on the board for Spates. I have no superlatives for this one either.
Wow, guys, continue no superlatives. So, Case, not only is this a matchup game, this is I forget what we coined this, but this is a game structure game where Kevin's going to come out hot. He's going to be forgetting to put his sunscreen on the beach, get a little burn early, and CJ's playing the nightlife. You got Josh Allen Thursday night, and on the back end of the day, he's going to have to somehow vaunt off Henry and Gibbs on Monday and Neighbors on Sunday. So, like, look at the way the game sets up. It's going to have to be a come from behind if you're CJ. Can his big dogs at the end of the week get the win over Breen?
I think he does, Mike. I think Spates holds on in this one. I think we're going to see the MVP Josh Allen performance on Thursday night against a very poor Miami defense. I think Nico Collins is going to be good. But when you flip to the end to Pete's point, Baltimore scored 40 in week 1 with Derrick Henry run the ball for 2 touchdowns and 100-something yards. So they can score 40 in the air. They can score 40 on the ground if they want to. And I think it's in for a big Gibbs game. I think we're going to see both offenses showcase on Monday night, which plays to Spates' favor. What keeps it close is the Pats can turn you over even though they give up points, and Aaron Rodgers will throw some picks on that game that he's not going to get the same quarterback play that he gets out of Daniels. Keeps it close, but I'm taking Spates as my win, no superlative.
Can I ask a question? Can I make 2 picks or do I have to make 1 pick?
I'm only allowed to log 1 pick for you for the game. You can make another non-counting pick.
If Jaden Daniels plays, I'm not picking against Spates until he loses.
No,
If
half
You have to timestamp it.
You got to make the pick on Wednesday night.
It's like guys not filling in their roster, and you have to pick who you think they're going to play.
Yeah.
It's good, guys. This is a close game. Like, there's a world where Josh Allen comes out and scores 50 points tomorrow. And if Shakir catches a touchdown and he's up 70-0, even 50-0, like, CJ's going to have to put up a nice game. I think his team is too good, though. I'm kind of with Case here. I'm going to have a prove me wrong mentality for CJ. I'll take Spates because you're making me make a pick before I know who's in. I also could see, I'm going to put this prediction out there. Put it out there. Ready? If Daniels is out, Spates makes a trade. I don't think Rodgers is his quarterback, and I don't see any good viable path for a quarterback on the free agent wire. I think Spates makes a trade. I'll take CJ. I'll stick with him. No superlative.
What makes you think that?
Spates, Herbert's available.
Spates doesn't make any trades. What makes you think that?
I just think he's going to. I don't know. He's going to listen to the pod. And he's going to make a trade. He'll call Case.
I flat out reached out to him for Stroud and Dak and everybody, and he was like, no.
We already went over this, Pete. Your quarterbacks aren't as good as other guys' quarterbacks.
I know.
Mike just put the answer key out there.
Heels, baby. I'm not asking for a lot.
I haven't talked to CJ. If you're saying I'm going to make a trade,
Mike put the answer key out there. He's gonna reach out to him and offer him a trade, and he's gonna go down with this.
I haven't even talked to CJ. I will reach out to him if Daniels is out.
Mike, you're lagging so bad.
I'm clicking too many things. All right, game number 3. Case, this would be poetry. If you take his nose and you rub it in the dirt and you keep Lloyd in the win column. Pete, let's see it. Can Case take down his vaunted Red Room rival, 4 seed, 8 seed, Case Lloyd? Let's hear it.
They played each other twice last year. Larkin was 2-0, and I'm talking some big games last year. It was 190 to 143 in week 5, and then it was 206 to 186 in week 14.
Whoa.
So if you had the overs, good for you. I think the difference maker in this is Brian Thomas, the wide receiver, and I'm not saying it for a good reason. I think he might be the softest wide receiver I saw play all weekend. The guy, he hears footsteps, he stops routes, he doesn't go over the middle. I think you might as well. We say 10 is the new 0. If he gets 10 in this league, I'd be pretty impressed. He is like starting a nobody. I think Casey's clicking, and I like the vibes. I'm gonna go with Casey to boom.
Whoa, there's the first superlative of the picks on the table with DeLuca. Brian, I'm going to go to you next. I know it's your game, but I want you to lean on a little bit to Lloyd because I'm going to –
maybe it was all the text messages.
I'm going to make a call back here. You said at the preseason picks that you were a little worried about the wide receiver stability and that there was going to be some turnover. And he's now dealing with Jamar Chase in a quarterback, Drake London injury, Brian Thomas alligator arms. The only person who's been consistent for him is Smith-Njigba with Sam Darnold. So it's like you've got a susceptible Lloyd. Do you think we see a rebound game from these receivers, and can you see him beating you and getting off the schneid?
I think this is one of those matchups where it's going to fall subpar to our expectations relative to what our rosters look like right now. Like, I don't love what's happening on mine. Lloyd's dealing with some issues. We're both dealing with a new quarterback to our best wide receiver. He did just pick up a stack. I got a stack. Those two things are playing pretty even at this point. So I think it's going to come down to like who has the best option or who can make a dart throw late. And I'll just say this to like Pete, I think I got the bigger stones in this one where I'm willing to kind of throw one out there and see if it works to make it happen. So with Keon Coleman going on Thursday night, I'm going to have an idea, like, does he cash in on a big Josh Allen night? And then that lets me figure out what I want to do with either a high floor play or does Quentin Johnson cash in for his first start of the year because he's been catching some deep balls from my man Herbert. I'm taking myself this week. I'm going to continue to beat up on Lloyd. This is going to be the lock of the week for me.
Whoa. Shots fired out of the gates. We have a lock and we have a boom on Team Casey, both predicting Steve and 0-3 Dan. Where's the spot on his roster? Who is
Golf cart.
Who is the key for Larkin's success? And do you see a victory for Dan?
It's the Chicago-Dallas game. Does his stack come through? Does that trade actually come to fruition for him? And does Lamb have a big week against a struggling defense in Chicago who just gave up 52 to Detroit? To your point, Case, the Jefferson-Chase matchup with the two new quarterbacks is the matchup to look for here. I actually favor Chase more than I favor Jefferson because Chase has played with Browning over the last couple of years. And I think there's a better connection there than with Jefferson and Wentz, as you said, that's kind of airmailing downfield. That Detroit game we just talked about, Detroit-Baltimore, Case, you need another big night out of Zay Flowers. Does Detroit double team him with a high safety and force him to go underneath? Is this a big DeAndre Hopkins game? Is he going to come back and show up? Mark Andrews. To me, in this matchup, it's pretty even across the board. And just said that with that matchup of Chase and Jefferson. Here's my first superlative. We're going to go for 3 right here. Lloyd's coming off. He's going to get his first win. He's my upset this week. I got faith in Dan with that stack. I think that was an important pickup for him. And a couple of the matchups that he's got here, Smith-Njigba with New Orleans, I like that look for him. And I do think CeeDee Lamb has a monster game at Chicago.
I'm with Steve on this. I'm taking Dan on the upset. I think the boom on Dan's roster is Brian Thomas Jr. Too many targets, too much force feeding. Houston's secondary is susceptible. They've given up some big plays, and they're pretty good against the run. So he's going to go, he can't go 1-3. I'm going to take Dan. I think we see a stack come to fruition, 1 or 2 touchdowns for Lamb. Upset, I'm with Team Steve here. Let's see if Dan can Let's see if Dan cannot be 0-3.
Yeah. If Thomas performs, I'd be surprised.
Speaking of
if Dan is 0-3, it's a death sentence for him.
I don't know if it's a death
I would say that. I would eliminate him right now if he goes 0-3.
Right.
He's out. He is not winning it if he goes 0-3.
DeVito's going to suspend him.
I don't know.
Put a receipt on that.
No, fine. I'll put a receipt on
1 hour, 33 seconds, season 5, episode 28.
Timestamp.
He loses, he's out.
Episode 128. Get it right, baby.
Text it over. Speaking of 0-3, let's see if we can get him there. Pete Kaleli, battle of the podcast co-host, 3 versus 10. Pete, I'm taking it 0-3. Let's go.
All right, we played twice last year. Mike, you won both of them. Week 3 by 40, week 12 by 11. My difference maker, Travis Kelce. I'm looking at him. If you look at my team, we're going to be showing up late. So don't panic at 4 o'clock because this group's not showing up until it's going to be fashionably late. But it ends with Kelce on Sunday Night Football in New York. I can see multiple. I mean, he's a media whore. I can see multiple touchdowns to him. Yeah, I said it, Steve. We're explicit now. And multiple shots at Taylor Swift. I'm going with me in the upset.
He's got to go to school tomorrow, Pete. You can't talk like that to him. It'll make him feel weird. Steve, Pete called you out there. He's calling himself for an update. You look at his roster. Who's the guy?
Shade of red right now.
He's so nervous.
Can't believe you call him a whore.
Pete's picked himself as the upset every week so far. No wonder why we can't get a superlative right.
You guys see a trend developing? Yeah.
Steve, I have to imagine you look at Pete's roster and you say the key is Jordan Mason if he gets a win. Do you agree with that statement? And could you see the upset from Team DeLuca?
Needs a big week out of Jordan Mason. Absolutely needs a big week. I also think he needs Swift to be healthy too. And I don't know if he plays a big role in this game because I think it's going to be a shootout, which is why Mike has Caleb Williams in his lineup because of how susceptible that Dallas defense was. No, you watched that game, Mike, where the Giants made that secondary look horrible. I just think there's too much on Mike's roster. There's way too much consistency across the board. I know Pete's got a couple of darts here that you might be able to go to. The one question that I have for you, Pete, the Franklin pickup that you have, love him. I think he's going to be a really good pickup. My concern with him is going against the Chargers, who have looked unreal defensively, and they're coming home for their home opener, which is going to give them a little bit more. I'm a little surprised that we have McLaurin and McBride on the bench. Especially McBride. Is there a reason for that one?
Yeah, I can answer that. Well, first of all, I think Franklin, if you look at what was the matchup last weekend against Indianapolis, probably not really that great of a matchup. Anyway, I'm going to roll the dice and see what happens there. I remember the praise in the preseason, and I like that going forward. McLaurin, if Daniels doesn't play, I put McLaurin on the bench. If Daniels ends up playing, I'll put him in. I was kind of like seeing what life would be like without Terry McLaurin on Sunday, so I just wanted to throw that out there first. McBride, when I took a close look at that Arizona game, and I don't really like Kyler as much as I thought, which is kind of, Mike will probably laugh because I did talk about acquiring Kyler earlier today.
You offered me a trade for Kyler at 7:30 this morning, gang. So
yeah. He does kind of bring my roster together well, and that would probably be a trade that I would have regretted. So I'm kind of happy that Mike said no. But honestly, I watch Kyler play, and I feel like he has a hard time seeing over the linemen.
Me too.
And I feel like he has a hard time getting the ball very far down the field to McBride. So, in answer to your question, I don't think Kyler's going to be effective with McBride. I think there's better matchups, especially going against San Francisco. And if Daniels plays, I'll put in McLaurin and probably bench Pitts.
Did you make a pick, Steve?
Yeah, I got Mike as my lock and as my boom.
I wish I didn't have to go through that whole explanation.
Boom.
Case, you think I'm crazy for playing the Bears stack? Give us the thoughts on me rolling 2 guys out against the Cowboys, and who's your pick?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think this is a matchup for you, Mike, where it's like you got to take the floor where you can find it because you are the more talented team. Last week on this pod, I was forced to picking Pete as my upset because I didn't have any other picks. And I was like, hey, maybe Pete knows something that I don't. Well, that's not true. No. Pete doesn't know anything more than I know. So I'm going with Mike. I got Mike as my boom this week. And I think it's because Cook's in the mix on Thursday night for that big starts of the week. And I like some of the things you did at the bottom. Like Chuba's been under the radar a little bit because of how good your roster's been. This is the good week to get him in there with the Cardinals having a divisional matchup and kind of going for some points somewhere else. So I like Kaleli. I like Kaleli's my boom this week.
Yeah, I'm boom locking myself this week. I like the roster I have put together. The fact that Russell Wilson looked like a resurrected quarterback last week against the Cowboys, let me get Caleb and DJ Moore. DJ Moore's been bitching. I think he gets a touchdown. He might even get 2. I like my squad right now, guys. We're healthy, which is a good thing, and my bench depth is helping so much. So, Pete, I hope I beat you. I hope I beat you by a lot. I hope you go 0-3. I'll double lock myself. Let's
the way I like it. How many superlatives against me, Casey? Let's hear it.
Everybody has a superlative against you. But you have yourself. You have yourself too.
They all save their superlatives against me. I want to triple lock, boom, upset myself. All right.
Most of the time when we do our superlatives, when we need to cash one in, we pick the game against the guy who's projected to score the fewest amount of points, and that's you.
I can see that.
Speaking of another game that's scheduled for fewest points, Steve and Andy, Toe versus Ta, Super Bowl rematch from 2023. All right, Pete, DeMar Hamlin. Pete, give us that preview.
I'll keep it really short. Steve, they played each other last year on week 7. Steve won 116-74. I think the difference maker is going to be Tony Pollard. I could see him having a great game similar to how Dobbins did last week against the Colts. I'm going to pick Steve, and I'm going to make him my lock.
Ooh, love that early praise towards Team DeVito. Case, you look at Steve's roster. The guy I like there sitting down at the bottom of his roster is Juwan Jennings. Where do you see Steve as a potential highlight, and who's your pick in this game?
Yeah, I like that play. I like getting him back in there. There seems to be some rapport there with Mac Jones, even though that guy's absolutely terrible. I think for Steve to get it going, he's going to need to get more out of A.J. Brown. He's going to get more out of Metcalf to kind of get him back in the conversation for playoffs and beyond. But this week, I'm taking DeVita as my upset in the Toe versus Ta. I need my upset. I'm going to DeVita. I think he needs to make a move out of that last roster spot. He needs more points than probably what Diggs can provide, especially against a Pittsburgh D who hasn't been playing well yet, but they always seem to play the Pats tough. You need some more points somewhere, DeVita. So get someone else in there, and I think you get this one this week for my upset.
Vacation Andy, Steve, has really stacked up some IRs and PUPs on his bench. But you look at who is in right now. Do you see a rebound game from Hampton? Do you see another big game from Magbuka? Like, where do you look at Andy's roster as your worry spot, and who do you pick?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do worry a little bit about a rebound spot with Hampton, especially with Jonathan Taylor going for $165 last week and 210 total. I mean, it's hard to compare Jonathan Taylor and Hampton, but I do think they're going to try to feed him the ball coming back at home. I think we've talked about this. Like, where's the boomability in the lineups? Who's going to have the most opportunity to score points in these games? And, you know, I said this earlier. I want a Bucky Irving jersey. That Jets defense, it's like Swiss cheese, and they're playing a first home game. I could see Bucky Irving going for over 100 and a couple touchdowns. And at some point, A.J. Brown is going to show up. They're going to be back at home, playing against the Rams, who have had the ability to give up some deep balls. And I think A.J. Brown finally catches his deep ball. I'm taking myself this week.
Did you see somebody stole A.J. Brown's car?
Yes, he's pissed.
He's pissed off. That might affect this week in fantasy.
Did they steal the Honda or the fancy new one?
I have no idea. He was just posted. If he finds him, he's gonna kill him.
A.J. Brown drives a Honda.
That dude was known for driving like a Honda POS, forever, and then he just bought like a super luxurious car this year to show up to training camp, and it gets jacked.
I believe that's the car. Yeah.
I don't think anybody was stealing the Honda.
Yes.
Coolest one. I hope this game comes down to a Lions battle on Monday night, and if that's the case, I like a Monra's floor versus Jameson Williams ceiling. I'll take Steve. I think this one could also be pretty close. A couple games on the roster that I think are very, very close this week. So I'm hoping they're good. This Monday night game has a lot of players that are going to impact who wins in week number 3.
Yeah, they do.
That's
Case,
it.
you got a wrap for us?
I could wrap it up for you guys. We got a 3-1 split on the CGD versus Innis matchup. DeVito has taken Innis as the lone soldier. In the Spates matchup, we have a split 2-2 Spates versus Breen. No superlatives in the first 2 matchups of the week. When we get to the Lloyd Case matchup, it is superlatives galore. We have a couple locks, we have a couple upsets, and we are split 2-2. The Kaleli Pete picked himself as the upset, noticing a trend. Everybody else is on Kaleli. Everybody else has him for a boom. Mike has himself for a lock. DeVito has Kaleli for a lock. And in the last week, we have a 3-1 DeVito over Davida. I am on Davida as my upset of the week.
Interesting. How was the spreadsheet case? Did you format it better?
It's awesome. I'm figuring out a way to recap it better at the end.
It's taking you 2 years. Proud of you.
Thank you, buddy.
5 seasons. We got it now.
What do you think Davita's drink of choice is when he goes to a tropical bar? By the way, I know the answer.
Oh,
Strawberry daiquiri.
Pina colada.
You nailed it. Strawberry daiquiri. Go for it.
What's it called when you mix the strawberry daiquiri with the pina colada?
A hurricane? No.
Sounds lovely though.
Well,
Pina daiquiri.
I don't know. Now I'm going by strawberry daiquiri because that was his favorite drink when he was 14. It might have changed.
14. Did you get the virgin?
Virgin. He was the guy that introduced me to virgin strawberry daiquiris next to the pool.
Hey, listen, guava berry stuff is great down there.
All right, we good?
We're good.